Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada, Jaya Guru Deva, Guru Deva, Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Thank you so much, Mataji. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Thanks for the Kirtan Mataji. Very nicely rendered.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Thank you so much. Let's begin with our prayers. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Gnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Mena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Mena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So we are going to start chapter 9 today. Before we begin, let's pay our obeisances to Sri Radha Govinda and Srila Prabhupada. The most confidential knowledge. Rajaguhya Yoga. So 7 was about the knowledge of the Absolute. And then Akshara Brahma Yoga we finished. And 9th is this most confidential knowledge. And then Guhya means secret. And this has many important verses actually. So many important verses. If you want, you can memorize them also. It just says that the more our heart is pure, the more we can understand the glories of Krishna. Let's understand what is the secret. What is so confidential about this knowledge? What is Krishna trying to tell and what Arjuna is going to understand? Let's understand all that. Okay. So this is summary of chapter 8. We'll quickly go over that and then continue. So this is what we learned in chapter 8. Krishna's answers to Arjuna's questions. Remembering Krishna at the time of death. Remembering Krishna. How do you remember? Practice remembrance through meditation and practice throughout life. Pure devotional service in section 4. Remembrance of Krishna through bhakti. Comparing the material and spiritual worlds. Glories of the Supreme Abode. How is Goloka Vrindavana? That also we studied. And then the supremacy of devotion in attaining the Supreme. So now Krishna is going to talk about pure devotional service. That is the secret. That is the knowledge. So there were some questions that Arjuna asked. He said, what is Brahman? What is Adhyatma? What is Karma? What is Adhibhuta? Adhidaiva? Adhiyagna? All those questions. Krishna answered. Brahman is Jiva, indestructible living entity. You know, Jiva means indestructible spirit. That is Brahman. And Adhyatma. Do you want to answer this? What is Adhyatma? Adhyatma, controller of the body, nature of the Jiva, nature of the self. And Karma? Karma is easy to answer. You can just unmute and give the answers, no problem. What is Karma? What did Arjuna ask and what did Krishna answer? Karma, fruitive activities. Actions leading to another material body. Adhibhuta, material nature. Adhidaiva, universal form, which includes all the demigods. That is Adhidaiva. Adhiyagna, He is the enjoyer of the sacrifice, who is none other than Paramatma. Where do you find Adi Yajna? Where does he reside? Where is Paramatma? Where did we learn about Paramatma? Where does Paramatma reside?
In our own heart.
Yes, in
In
the
our
heart
own
of
body.
all. Thank you, Mataji. In the heart of all living entities, he is there in the atom also. So, how to remember Krishna at the time of death? Practice remembrance throughout life. So, let's move on to chapter 9. Synopsis. Ananya Bhakti. In chapter 8, Krishna has explained that an Ananya devotee, unalloyed devotee, surpasses the path of light and darkness. Now, Krishna will explain how to become such a devotee, how to become an unalloyed devotee. Supremacy of Bhakti. Chapter 8 concludes that Bhakti is the best form of yoga. Chapter 9 supplies the specific knowledge required for performing that most confidential yoga. And chapter 7 and 9 are identical in the sense they're virtually identical. Chapter 8 can be seen as a tangent in the conversation between Krishna and Arjuna, clearing up some important points before continuing on the same line. So they're actually discussing Bhakti Yoga here. Then chapter 9, the most important confidential knowledge. Hearing about Krishna, what are the qualifications and disqualifications? That is explained. Then Aishwarya Jnana, Krishna's Achintya Bheda, Abheda, Tattva. We'll discuss that. What is Achintya Bheda, Abheda Tattva? Relationship with the material world. And then non-worshippers and worshippers. Krishna is a supreme object of worship. All this we'll study in chapter 9. The glories of directly worshipping Krishna. Okay, these are the different sections. Summary here. Hearing about Krishna, qualifications and disqualifications. So this knowledge is considered the most confidential knowledge. It is the most celebrated knowledge. It is nothing but knowledge of pure bhakti. Once a person understands this knowledge, he will understand how to conduct himself, what are his activities. So a lot of things, Fools and grannies approach Krishna in different ways, but direct bhakti to Krishna is the best way to approach him. And Krishna is very inclined to his devotees, actually, He forgives. If there are any accidental mistakes on the path of bhakti, Krishna forgives. He's very, very merciful. So from 4 to 10, Aishwarya Jnana, Krishna Achintya Bheda, Abheda, relationship with the material world. Then next section C, non-worshippers and worshippers. And then Krishna is the supreme object of worship. The glories of directly worshipping Krishna. Okay. Hearing about Krishna. Qualifications and disqualifications. Non-enviousness allows one to hear confidential knowledge about Krishna, and faithlessness forces one to birth and death. So the first verse, which is very important. Who would like to recite this one? Usually Anjali Mataji recites, but others also please try. Hare Krishna. Mataji can go ahead, Mataji. Please recite. Yes, Mataji.
Shri Bhagavanuvacha idam tu te guhyatamam pravakshamyanasuyave jnana vijnana sahitam yajñatva mokshase shrubhat. The Supreme
Ashubhat.
Personality.
It's Ashubhat, Mataji. There is one apostrophe there.
Mokshase Ashrubhat.
Ashubhat, yes.
Mokshase Shubhat or Ashrubhat, Mataji?
Ashubhat. Whenever there is a mark there, see, on the left of Shah, yes, Ashubhat.
Okay, Ashubhat. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "My dear Arjuna, because you are never envious of me, I shall impart to you this most confidential knowledge and realization, knowing which you shall be relieved of the misery of material existence." Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Thank you so much. People ask this question, why Arjuna, not anyone else? Why not? So many others were there. Pandavas there, like 5 brothers. Why only Arjuna? So here Krishna is giving the answer. He says, because of non-enviousness, this jnanam, idam jnanam, this knowledge is talking about pure devotional service. That is the best way to approach Krishna. We see yogis, how difficult their path is. And then jnanis also, they are trying to understand Krishna in their own way. They want to understand the absolute truth. How everything came into existence. They have their own way of finding out. But this is the best way. So he's saying, I will reveal this knowledge to you because you are not envious of me. You are not an envious person. And then, so if we become free from envy, how do we become free from envy? With good association, by following the instructions of the Acharya. What will happen if we become free from envy? We can also understand and absorb this knowledge more and more. It is very natural for anyone actually. See, if we have something that we want to share, say there's some great news that we want to share, we may not go and tell a person who is envious of us. We will filter out. We'll think, I should not reveal this to this person. He will not be happy. Or no, there are different reasons. We will first tell a person who will be really happy for us. Right? Some same way, Krishna is also like that. And Krishna is full in all six opulences. And this happened like what, 5,000 years ago. So many years are gone, and we are still talking about Krishna. His unlimited qualities, his activities, his pastimes. We are still discussing about him. How glorious! So here, one more important point we have to remember is there are many commentaries on Bhagavad Gita, and they consider themselves very scholarly. They think they know too much. They can actually write a commentary that's coming from their own mind. But if they are envious of Krishna, if they are criticizing Krishna's character, if they have no respect for Krishna or whatever, they consider him as like an ordinary person, then all such commentaries are useless. So we should not be hearing that at all. There is no point. We must hear from a proper source. Here, Prabhupada is putting so much effort to make us understand who is Krishna, what is the absolute truth, what are we supposed to do, what are the, what is our goal. He's giving us so many instructions, so many books. He's coming from a proper, bona fide spiritual parampara. So that's how we have to understand this knowledge. If we don't hear from a proper source, it is like smashan vairagya. Samsan vairagya in the sense, it is like when somebody is passed away, he's dead. We go and we spend some time at the funeral, and everyone feels like, wow, look at this person, he's dead. They're all in that mood. They feel like this is life. Life is so short, and for this short life, people are fighting, people are struggling, and that is all these sudden realizations happen. As soon as they leave that place, they are back to their own politics again, right? The world will pull them in, suck them into the different directions. So that is just samshan vairagya. So it's like that. As long as you hear some kind of some nonsense coming from some person, maybe there will be like a little bit, you feel some peace or something, but then there is no eternal benefit. So matters, which are described in this chapter are about unalloyed pure devotion. And that is why it is called the most confidential knowledge. You can say, how can we approach him? And a person who is situated in the most confidential knowledge is actually, is naturally transcendental. He has no material pangs. Material contamination cannot even touch him. He will not be bewildered. You see how these acharyas conduct themselves. We can just look at them and learn. They are on a different platform only. So it's like that. They are already liberated. Okay. Lord Krishna imparts most confidential knowledge and realization to Arjuna. Why? Knowledge of spirit, soul, and body useful for liberation. More confidential. Chapter 7 and 8, knowledge which brings about enlightenment, about Krishna consciousness, Supreme Lord and his energies. Most confidential. They're talking about Guhya, Guhyataram, and Guhyatamam. Most confidential, chapter 9, because it deals with pure unalloyed devotion and delineates the glories of the Lord. Qualification. Useless commentary of high academic scholars gives inaccurate commentaries because they are envious. Lord Krishna imparts most confidential knowledge and realization to Arjuna. What is the qualification to receive? Anusuyave, free from envy. What is the means to receive? Proper hearing. He's saying, hear from me. Krishna says that in 7th chapter, in the first verse, he says, hear. That's the best way. What are the benefits? Relief from miseries of material existence. It may not make sense immediately. When somebody is in a lot of pain, if you go and say, it is like, you see the ads, advertisements that come, you have a headache, why don't you take this tablet? You have this sickness, why don't you go to this doctor? It is like that. When somebody is in actual anxiety, have a lot of in depression and all that, just hearing Krishna Katha, chanting his holy name can bring a lot of benefits. But when we say it may not make sense to them because they are not yet there. But this holy name is potent. It has a lot of benefits and the benefits are eternal. Rajavidya. Okay, let's move on. The king of education. Now here. So idam jnanam, this knowledge, and pure devotional service consists of 9 different activities. What are those? Hearing, chanting, remembering, serving, worshipping, praying, obeying, and then friendship with the Lord, and then finally surrendering everything. So by practicing all these 9 elements, what is happening is we are being elevated to spiritual consciousness. Our heart is getting purer and purer. When our heart is cleared of all material contamination, we can actually understand the science of Krishna. We can understand what is the absolute truth. So more knowledge will be revealed, and Krishna sitting in our heart will actually help us. He will reveal more and more to us. So just understanding I'm not the body, I'm a spirit, that is just not enough. That is just theory. It's just beginning of our spiritual realization. But we have to recognize the difference between activities of the body and our spiritual activities. Because in this world, we have conditional activities and constitutional activities. So a person has to understand the difference between these. In 7th chapter, actually, we understood his opulences, opulent potency. He talks about his different energies and his inferior energy, superior energy, and all this material manifestation. In this chapter 9, in this chapter, the glories of the Lord will be explained. These are examples are there. Shravanam, Parikshit Maharaj, Kirtanam, Shukamuni, then Smaranam, remembrance, Pada Sevanam, Lakshmi, Mother Lakshmi, then Maharaj Prutu as an example for Archanam, then we have Vandanam, Akrura, then Dasyam, we have Hanuman and several others. Then Sakhyam, Arjuna is the example. Atmanivedanam, Bali Maharaj, complete surrender. Prahlad Maharaj for remembering. Deity worship, and then praying, becoming servant, friendship and complete surrender. Mataji, would you like to recite this one? Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Hare
Mataji,
Krishna.
may I recite?
Okay.
Sure, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Text 2. Raja Vidya Raja Guyam Pavitram Idamuttamam Pratyakshaavagamam Dharmyam Susukham Kartum Avyayam. This knowledge is the king of education, the most secret of all secrets. It is the purest knowledge, and because it gives direct perception of the self by realization. It is the perfection of religion. It is everlasting, and it is joyfully performed. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Very important verse. You see, this knowledge is the king of education. We all are thinking we are educated. We're too educated. Some of us, most of the people nowadays have double degrees. They go for PhD, and then what all, they consider themselves, very scholarly. But Krishna is saying this is king of knowledge, king of education, the most secret of all secrets. It is the purest knowledge. Nothing is beyond this because it gives direct perception of the self by realization. It is the perfection of religion. See how much, he's stressing on all this. It is everlasting in the sense, whatever we are learning in this Bhagavad Gita, it is not just about this world. It is not about how to live our life every day. It's not just about that. It is everlasting, eternal. Where do we go after this? After giving up this body, what will happen? What's our journey after that? It is an eternal, because we have been taking birth again and again. Satya Yuga is over. Treta Yuga is over. Dwapara Yuga is over. This is Kali Yuga, and we are still sitting here. At least we are discussing Bhagavad Gita, and we are, hearing Prabhupada. That itself is a big thing. This is everlasting. It is joyfully performed. He's saying devotional service is joyfully performed. We learn a lot of morals also, moral values at school and colleges and all. But whatever we learn there, they are all skills. They're just skills which will help us to maintain our body and soul together. The real knowledge is this essence of all the philosophies. What Krishna is giving us here. See, there are 3 levels of secret. He's talking about Guhyam. Who am I? What is this body? Who am I? I'm not the body, I'm the soul. That is the first level of secret. Knowing that I'm spirit, soul, I'm not the body. We're so attached to the body, right? Every day people look in the mirror and think, I'm like this, I'm like this, I'm this, I'm that. A bodily concept is too much. If you ask someone who are you, they'll say, I'm a teacher, I'm a lawyer, I'm that and this. Ultimately, we have to, this realization should happen that we are not the body, we are the soul. I'm just a soul, part and parcel of the supreme soul, the super soul, the absolute truth. So, and then what is the nature of the spirit soul? It is immutable, indestructible, eternal. This realization should happen. Externally, we still have to attend interviews, go out and get a job. All that is there when, that's how we live in this world. But this realization should happen. That is first level of secret. Second is, okay, now I'm a soul, I'm not the body. So second level is, I'm a soul, part and parcel of Krishna. That is where I'm coming from. That is my source. Source is Krishna, part and parcel of Krishna. Second level of secret. Guhyatamam. Okay, now I know I'm part and parcel of Krishna. I am a soul. What next? What am I supposed to do? What is my purpose? Where do I go next? So, how do I go back? If I belong to Krishna and Krishna's Goloka Vrindavana, why am I here? How do I go back now? What do I need to do? What do I need to do is develop loving devotional service to Krishna. That realization should happen. That is the third level of secret. If we keep on reading by ourselves, Bhagavad Gita, continue reading by ourselves, and if we don't hear from a bona fide Acharya, these 3 levels of secret will never dawn upon us. That will never be revealed. We can keep reading, it will never be revealed. This has to be revealed. These 3 levels. What is 3 levels of secret. So it's very, very important. Krishna consciousness makes us pure, because the more we hear, the more we chant, the more we serve the Acharya, what happens is, because of his mercy, realization comes by mercy. Our efforts are very important, but mercy comes from the Lord himself. He will reveal, and then just, it's so joyfully performed. Devotional service is joyfully performed. We saw Ashtanga Yoga. What was that? Dhyana Yoga. How difficult it is. And then mental speculation. That is also difficult. Read the scriptures, sit and analyze, discuss all this dry matter. It is very difficult. But the process of chanting, dancing, eat Krishna Prasad, it is happily performed. Susukham kartum avyayam. It's so much joy while we execute devotional service. So a person who is in the most poverty stricken condition, he also can perform devotional service. Krishna is saying all he wants is patram, pushpam, phalam, toyam. Any one of these. Offer a leaf, offer some flowers, offer some water. Anyone can offer water and offer some fruit. It's not so difficult. So if we can do this, we can stay connected to him. It's so easy, and it's so, all this by chanting and hearing, our faith will increase, our purity will increase. So why are we impure? What is the reason for this impurity? So many impurities are covering us. Why? Because of the 3 modes of material nature. That is why we are impure. How does a person become impure? Because of the desires, that sense gratification, like this desire, that desire, everything they have, and they have this ulterior motive of controlling also. They want to control the material nature. All these are contaminations. So if you perform devotional service, actually we get purified and we can perform this joyfully. And our faith has to increase, Without faith, we cannot understand Krishna. There is no grace in our spiritual journey. Further glorification of the most confidential knowledge. King of all knowledge. Because it is the essence of all doctrines and philosophies explained before. Rajaguhyam, most confidential knowledge. This talks about the eternal activities of the soul and thus gives positive information. Further glorification of the most confidential knowledge. Purifying potency of devotional service is very, very strong. Pavitram idam uttamam, purest form of all activities, devotional service. Anything we do for Krishna is, purifying. Okay, these are stages of reaction. See, there are 4 levels of sinful activities: prarabdha karma, kuta, bija, and then prarabdha. See, prarabdha means reactions that are already fructified and one is already suffering. Some people are born in certain condition, they will be suffering, and some people are already suffering on their body. There is some pain going on, they're not well. This is all karma, nothing but karma. We can't tell them. If you go and tell somebody, says I have a problem, you can't say this is your karma. That is, we have to show compassion. We have to be empathetic. We can't say that, but actually that is what it is. It's because of some karma that has fructified. They're suffering because of that. That is prarabdha karma, which is already happening. Phalonmukha means that is waiting to happen, waiting to take effect. See, everything is going on fine. Suddenly something happens and we wonder what happened. Everything was fine. Why suddenly this problem came up? Devotees don't look at any situation as problems, but that's how in this world, something happens, they go, this is giving me pain. Why? What happened? That is phalonmukha. It was waiting to happen. Kuta means reactions may fructify later. It's waiting to happen. It is collected, but it will take longer time. Maybe next birth or maybe next year. We don't know. It's going to come, but bija means it's still in the seed form. It will fructify. It will happen, but we don't know when. Seed, bija, seed form. So when we start serving Krishna, what is happening is all these all these 4 levels of reactions are erased, completely gone. It is like you take seeds and you fry them. They will not fructify, right? They will not sprout. Same way, when we start chanting the holy name of the Lord, we start serving Him, our faith increases in Him. What happens? All our sinful reactions are destroyed. They will not at all fructify. Anything, say, somebody once went to Prabhupada and said, my finger got cut. Prabhupada says, your hand was supposed to get cut. You just got a little cut on your finger. That is because of your devotional service. So Krishna, if something big is trying to happen, at least he will, what we feel is just a pinprick. He will give complete protection because we are chanting his name. We are purifying ourselves. It is like, if you read Nectar of Devotion also, we'll understand when the person shaves or say is chopping the grass, is cutting the grass will grow again, right? But the sinful reactions, the propensity to commit a sin, that has to be pulled out. From the roots, it is taken out. So a devotee doesn't even have an inclination to commit a sin. First of all, he's so purified. And even if he accidentally commits something, the Lord understands this is an accident. So he'll forgive him. So like that, a devotee cannot perform any sins. And even if there is something waiting to happen, Lord will take care. It will not happen. Just taking prasadam is so potent. Once Prabhupada was traveling, it seems, there was this air hostess. She saw him eating this, it's called puri in Kannada. I don't know what it's called in English. I think it's a bro that it's made of rice only. And then it's called, what is it called? Puffed rice, I think. So she was like, what are you eating, Swamiji? And then she got to eat a little. He offered and little she put it in the mouth. But after she went back home, what has happened is she actually had prasadam. So went back home. She wanted to find out more about this Swamiji. She come across his books. She read his books, and in 1 year she was a very powerful devotee. She just wanted to continue in her journey in Krishna consciousness. That's how it is. Like Narada Muni. We know about Narada Muni, right? Have you heard about his story? How he became Narada? In his previous life, he was the son of a maid servant. Have you heard that story? You all know about him? Hopefully.
Yes, yes, Mataji.
Yes, all of you know. There are 11. Yeah. So, yes, he just ate the remnants of food left by these great saints, saintly people. And what happened to him? We see what happened to him, right? So he became Narada because of that. That's a long story. I'm, just telling in a brief way. So purifying potency of devotional service is very strong. Even this Haridas Thakur used to keep on chanting, it seems. He used to chant so many rounds, like thousands. Then sometimes he used to be walking along the banks and around the shores and then keep chanting. There are people around. He'll be chanting loudly. They can hear him. They could hear him. So they would tell, if you want to chant, you can chant. Why are you loud enough? We can hear you chanting. He said, yes, yes, I'm not chanting for myself. I want to purify the rest of the people also. Just by hearing someone's chanting also, we will be benefited. It is like that. When we're chanting, if there's a lizard or cockroach, that also gets the benefit of chanting. It is like that. So devotional service, hearing. Even Parikshit Maharaj is sitting and hearing Shukamuni. He's not even doing anything, just sitting. That is also devotional service. Yeah, he's not massaging his feet, nothing at all, just hearing. So everything, anything done for Krishna has this purifying potency. Sinful reactions have 4 stages. Growth of a tree from a seed has different stages. Pavitram implies all the 4 stages can be purified. Uttamam implies beyond tamas, material activities. So we discussed all this. So let us move on. The most confidential knowledge, further glorification of the most confidential knowledge. How to get direct perception of the self. Pratyakshaavagamam dharmam. Direct perception. How to get? By practicing devotional service in the association of advanced devotees. We'll start understanding that we are not bodies, we are all spirit souls. Example of direct perception: by chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra without offense, one feels transcendental pleasure and gets purified quickly. Also, if one further helps in the mission, one makes spiritual progress. Qualification: advancement is irrespective of previous education or qualification. It does not matter see, Haridas Thakur was born in a Mohammedan family. He was a Muslim. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave him shelter. So that was, what's the qualification? So it doesn't matter. We can say, I was a rank student in school and I have such great degrees. People think if they have more money, lot of money, they're successful. But that is not success according to Krishna consciousness. So irrespective of whatever it is, caste, creed, education, whatever, a qualification is the moment we take shelter of the Guru, take shelter of Krishna, we start purifying ourselves. The process itself is purifying. Further glorification of the most confidential knowledge, dharmyam, perfection of religion, sukham, blissful. You can see the devotees, they are so happy. You can see the glow there when they're chanting and that they're performing kirtan, sankirtan, you can see the joy on their face. Avyayam, eternally everlasting. Okay. Perfection of religion. Krishna says, give up all sorts of religion and take my shelter, in the 18th chapter. So we'll understand more about it at the time. So now, another important verse. Who would like to recite this one? Hare Krishna. Anjali Mataji, would you like to recite, Mataji?
Okay, Hare Krishna. Ashraddhanaha purusha dharmasyasya parantapa aprapyam mani vartante mrityu samsara vartmani. Those who are not faithful in this devotional service cannot attain me, O conqueror of enemies. Therefore, they return to the path of birth and death in this material world. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji. So Krishna glorifies the knowledge about him. See, Shastras actually tell us what we should do and what we should not do. What are we supposed to do? We should not become envious of God. Don't become envious of Krishna. Cultivate knowledge of him. And it also talks about the secretive knowledge. What are we not supposed to do? Don't lose faith. Don't lose faith in Krishna. So in the fourth chapter, he says, Krishna himself says, Sanshayatma Vinashyati. A doubting soul gets destroyed. See, always doubting. Some people are constantly doubting. Should I do this? Should I do that? If somebody is talking about, Krishna, or, speaking about spiritual matters, or they are giving some knowledge about Bhagavad Gita, they will start thinking, do they have any hidden agenda? Are these people straightforward? Do they want something from us? Or this, that is doubt, 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 doubt. If we keep doubting these great acharyas like Madhvacharya, Ramanujacharya, Vyasamuni himself, there's no point. They were all very great souls. We are very insignificant. We should not be doubting them at all. There's something called blind faith. There's something called practical faith. Blind faith, Prabhuji explains this very nicely. He says, a person, see, Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra will never misguide us. But there are people, say they have a problem, they'll go to anybody. They'll go to a rickshaw person also. They go to the maid servant also. They'll ask anyone and everyone, see, I have this problem, what do I do? How can that person give any solution, right? In one of the chapters we heard, we are all conditioned souls. We are all bound actually. Only a liberated person can actually give proper solution to our problems. An expert, we need an expert. When we have a medical problem, we go to a doctor. Similarly, when we have any issue, we cannot go to the wrong person. They'll go to anyone for advice. And that is blind faith. And some people are very skeptical. The doctor will tell you have this problem, you have to get this done. Take this medicine, get the surgery, this. They're very skeptical. Should I do this? Should I do that? They'll go to another person, the second opinion. Nothing wrong with that. It's totally fine. Because say if you compare Guru to the doctor, say you go to the Sadhu, who will also say the same thing. If he is also saying, yes, your Guru is right, this is what you should do, doctor is correct, then you do some self-study. If some doctor is also saying, second doctor is also saying you need the same treatment, and now you do self-study, go to Google Amma and then go to different books, go to library here and there, ask like different people who went through the same issue and all that, and then that is Swadhyaya, self-study. And you come to the same conclusion. All these three tally. Then that means, that's the correct thing to do. Because Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra, they'll never misguide us. Ultimately, it is our journey, they all can help us. Our efforts are very important because every bird has wings, but the bird has to fly by its own strength. So it is like that. In spiritual life, we can encourage each other. We can say, come, let's form a group. All of us chant together, read all the scriptures. Let's follow all the regulative principles, do this and that and this. But how are we satisfying the Lord? Is Krishna happy? Ultimately, he's the one. How sincere we are, he's watching. He's inside our heart. Even we can write exams and, we can do whatever. We can say, I have this certificate, that certificate. But Krishna is very, very intelligent, supremely intelligent. He knows everything, what is happening in everyone's heart and mind and everything. So, but he's very merciful. He's perfect master. You can see how kind he is to Arjuna. Every time Arjuna asks a question, he's being a perfect teacher. He answers him in a very nice way, with a lot of patience. The most confidential knowledge, faithless cannot attain Krishna. Define faith. Simply by serving Krishna, one can achieve all perfection. It's like watering a root of tree. And another thing, we're talking about enviousness, right? Envy. Do you know what is envy? Mataji defines this very nicely. She learned the description from her spiritual master. Remember Mataji, one day she was explaining, how do you define envy? Do you know, have you heard from her? How do you define envy? What is envy? You can just unmute and give out whatever you know, whatever you think. Hare Krishna. What do you think envy means? When somebody is envious of another person, what does that mean?
You're trying to say that you are very perfect, even though you are not, or you're jealous of something. You want to say, in other words, that you're the master in that field. That is all false ego is there. And envious
Hare
is,
Krishna.
you're not trying to accept his, whatever good things he's doing, you're not trying to accept.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Others also participate. Anjali Mataji is always so, she's always there answering, reciting. Wonderful. Others also, please unmute and give out your answers. It's fine to be, whatever. It's okay to discuss. Okay, what Mataji says is, envy is when I like what you have, but I don't like that you have it. It's like that. You see somebody has some great talent, or they have something very great. They have achieved something, or it could be material or spiritual, whatever. They say, I like what you have. I like that, but I don't like that you have that thing. That is envy. She says that in simple words. So yes. So now, how faith is created? By association of devotees. Our faith becomes stronger. No good faith and knowledge of scriptures easily fall down to though engaged in devotional service. If you don't have good faith and knowledge of scriptures, we can easily fall down. Cannot achieve highest perfectional stage, coming to Krishna consciousness with hidden motives. Firm faith, but not very advanced in devotional scriptures, simply trying to follow by association and simplicity. That is second level of firm faith. Okay, first level, second level, and third level. In first level, firm faith and well versed in devotional scriptures, and no chance of, that's the highest, no chance of falling down. Development of that faith is the process of Krishna consciousness. See, we come to Shraddha, that is the first stage. We have some faith, that's why we come towards Krishna, and then slowly it increases. Okay. Faith is a most important factor. So section B, Aishwarya Gnana, Krishna's Achintya Bheda Abheda relationship with the material world. Krishna pervades, creates, and annihilates the entire cosmos through his material energy. Although Krishna is the supreme director, the material world nevertheless moves independently, and Krishna thus remains neutral and detached. Whatever he does, he's not looking for profit or loss or anything, and he's not even indirectly in touch with the material creation. Let's understand how that is. Who would like to decide this one? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Yes, Mata.
Maya tatam idam sarvam jagat avyaktamurtina matasthani sarva bhutani nachaham teshva avastitaha. By me, in my unmanifested form, this entire universe is pervaded. All beings are in me, but I am not in them. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. So it's very difficult to understand Krishna. No one, not even the demigods, can understand Krishna. We cannot understand Krishna just by, with our material body and material senses. We cannot see him with our material eyes. We cannot, understand his name, fame, pastimes, nothing. So he says everything is resting in him. He says he's everywhere. Everything is in him, but he's still aloof. See, he was walking around as one little cowherd boy. He was there in Goloka Vrindavan also. He's sitting in everyone's heart as Paramatma also. His energies are pervading everywhere. So many universes, not just one. So how do you understand this? So that's what it means. In my unmanifested form, the entire universe is pervaded. This nice image here. So it is like they say there is a king, rough example. King is sitting somewhere, but his energy, he is everywhere by his personal representation. In the sense, there are different people performing different activities, and through his different energies. It is just a rough way of understanding. Krishna is not like that. His energies are actually literally everywhere. We read in Bhagavad Gita that he's the taste of water also, he's the light in the moon, everything. So we'll learn that also. So this material world, this cosmic manifestation, we see in the universal form, it's represented in the universal form. And it is all like neophytes can understand, like eyes. His eyes are the sun and moon. All the hair on his body are the trees, and the bones are mountains. This comparison given like that. So all the different things in the universe are represented in his body parts. But actually, is like one person standing. So it is very difficult to understand how a person who looks just like us, human form, how can that person not have a body like us? His body is different. Krishna exactly looks like how he looks in Vrindavan when he appeared here. That's how exactly he is in Golaka Vrindavana. But he performed unbelievable activities. You read Krishna Lila, it is not possible for a 7-year-old to lift Govardhana hill. Not possible for a baby to kill so many demons and all that. His activities are not at all ordinary. And his energies are he's everywhere also. There are people who have seen him in different places. The same person is, how can I see Krishna here also, there also? It is not possible for us to be in two different places, but Krishna, anything is possible. In Brahma Vimohan Leela also we see how he expanded into so many different boys. And everything is created does not rest in me. Behold my mystic opulence. He's talking to Arjuna. Although I am the maintainer of all living entities, and although I am everywhere, still myself is the very source of creation. As the mighty wind blowing everywhere always rests in ethereal space, know that in the same manner, all beings rest in me. How do we understand this? See, this wind is blowing, it blows with high speed sometimes. We see hurricanes also, but does not go out anywhere. It stays within that space, right? It stays. It doesn't go out of its space, out of the blue sky, nothing like that. It stays within that space. Like that, we may take birth after birth, birth again, death again, whatever. We are still resting in him, which means we are under his shelter only. We cannot escape Krishna. Wherever we go, any universe, any planet, we are still under his control, under his shelter. So that's an analogy. He gives all this example. Yogaishwaryam, that is his Yogaishwaryam, and that is Achintya Veda, Abheda Tattva means is simultaneously there in the creation and simultaneously present in his personal form also. Simultaneous, one and different with his energies. That is Achintya Veda, Abheda Tattva. Living entities do not rest upon Krishna, Yogaishwaryam. Inconceivable mystic opulences of the Lord, inconceivable. We cannot even imagine. We can't even sit and discuss. It's very difficult. And he himself says, whatever I'm telling you, Arjuna, is just nothing, And there's no need for you to know too much also, because, with just a fragment of my energies, I'm supporting all these multiple universes. He gives all this information. It depends on our capacity of understanding Krishna, how much he reveals. We can understand it in different ways. So many senior devotees give a lot of examples. Like, say, for instance, you're talking to a person who is in, say, a 3-year-old child who's just started schooling, And if the child is asking very big questions, we have to answer appropriately. A person who has studied PhD has to come down to the child's level to talk in the childish language. And then if somebody is in the 5th grade, and the answer might be a little better. And somebody who's actually, become very, very advanced and able to understand more science and maths, the teacher will reveal more. It's like that. So Krishna reveals based on our own, how much we have progressed, how much we have surrendered to him, how much we are capable, how purified we are. So it depends on us also, our efforts. Everything that is created does not rest in me, implies although everything rests in him, Still, he is aloof and not directly concerned with maintenance. Not like Atlas, who is tired of holding glow. He is aloof, examples of inconceivable opulences. Avyayam, eternally everlasting. There is no beginning, there is no end. How can you even understand someone like that? He has no date of birth. We can't say. Even our soul, we can never say, because for the body, we have a date of birth. And when we give up this body, that will become our date of death. But for a soul, we can never say this soul exists, started at such and such a point of time. When did it, when did we, as a spirit soul, how did we even exist? And what was the point when we, became independent like this? Because we're all separated parts and parcels of the Lord. All this is very difficult to understand. And Krishna is like Anadi, Adi, like, he's the beginning also, he has no beginning also. It's like that. Spiritual world and Vaikuntha planets. So all these are mystic opulences of the Lord. The creation, maintenance, annihilation, everything is completely dependent on the supreme will of the Lord. But everything is happening without, any effort. He's not directly concerned with the maintenance and sustenance of the material manifestation, though. It is like he's not touching the material manifestation. It says, Bhagavatam says, just by one glance, his glance is enough, everything got agitated and creation happened. It is like that. And maintenance also is happening, annihilation is also happening, just by his will. That's it. O son of Kunti, at the end of the millennium, all material manifestations enter into my nature. Means spiritual. And at the beginning of another millennium, by my potency, I create them again. We all remain unmanifested. We read this in the previous session also. So at the end of the millennium means the time of death of Brahma. What happens? Brahma dies. Everything is annihilated. Pralaya, Mahapralaya happens. Everything is destroyed. And all of us, we stay in unmanifest way. And when the time is right, we again take different bodies and we enter different planets, different universes. We don't know where we'll go. And if we are lucky enough, we'll go back to the spiritual world. We'll go to Vaikuntha planets or maybe Golok Vrindavana. The whole cosmic order is under me. By my will, it is manifested again and again. And by my will, it is annihilated at the end. O Dhananjaya, all this work cannot bind me. Because whatever we do, we are looking for some, that is fruitive activity. We want some result. What will I gain if I do this activity? Every time, that's how we work, no? Okay, I'll do this, but what will I get in return? That's how people do everything. That is our fruitive activity. But Krishna, nothing binds him. He's not doing this because he wants something out of it. There's no profit loss, nothing. He's not looking for all that. He's detached from all these activities. Detached, seated as though neutral. He allows all this to happen, but he's neutral. It is like, everything is happening so nicely. Like when you press the button of a washing machine, the machine already is programmed such that it's like a supreme engineer. Everything happens automatically. Just press the button, the soap gets mixed, the clothes get washed, it rinses, it dries, and it comes out also. So it is like that. We can see how the multiple universes are functioning. The most confidential knowledge. Okay, text 8, Lord Krishna's relationship with creation and destruction, that was discussed. Discussion on Lord Krishna's relationship with creation and destruction. Material world is the inferior energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. What is the relationship with creation and destruction? He is the cause of all causes, but at the same time, he is not directly in touch with the material world. How Krishna's creation refutes the modern concept of evolution. Modern concept, there is gradual evolution of species from one to another, beginning from creation. So we think this species came from that species. This one evolved, this animal evolved to become something else. That is what science, that's what we learned when we were very little. That's how it was taught. But then science also is changing. But then there are, 84 lakh species, and all the species are created. So it is not like one species gives rise to another. If you read scriptures, we get that information. All species of life are created immediately along with the universe at the beginning of creation. They are already there and not one after another, based on desires and past deeds of living entities. It is like a tailor ready to make clothes for us based on our desire, what color you want, what everybody has, their measurement may be different, just like that. Based on our desires and our karmic accounts, we get a body. How the material world is maintained if Krishna's Parameshvara is aloof. Krishna's supreme will is always present. No direct involvement of the Lord. He himself does not create or destroy. He doesn't do it directly. What is the basis of creation? Creation takes place to accommodate inclinations or the desires of various living entities. He's allowing it. You desire, you want to eat all kind of meat, you can become a pig. You can eat, keep on eating, become a pig. Pig's body is ready. Somebody is so craving non-veg, next month they may become a wild animal. You never know. Somebody, they think they want to be a great swimmer. They're always in water. They can become a dolphin. You never know. So all this is given actually in the scriptures. It says, Prabhupada also explains all this. That's why our thoughts, our desires, they're so powerful. Our next body is getting prepared based on what we are thinking right now. What are we say, I'm so passionate about this. I want to fly. That is my passion. Then Krishna will provide a bird's body. Go fly, become a bird. A bird can keep on flying. So in human birth, when we get this human body, we should understand our goal is not to become this and that, climb mountains or fly from here and there, because monkeys do better than that, better than us, no? They can fly from one branch to another. Don't need to compete with them. Krishna's supreme will is always present. Everything is definitely under supreme will of the Lord because he enters as three Vishnu forms into the Mahatattva to create. And all this Krishna himself is saying. So if somebody says there's some energy behind this material creation, everything happened because of some energy. So that does not make sense because Krishna is saying, I oversee all this and I permit all this, and he is a person, supremely intelligent person, and is detached. Okay. Mataji, please recite this one, Mataji. Hare Krishna. We have few more verses and then we can stop. We'll do the rest later. Mataji, recite Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Mayadhyakshena prakrutihi suyate sacharacharam hetu nanena kaunteya jagadvi parivartate. This material nature, which is one of my energies, is working under my direction, O son of Kunti, producing all moving and non-moving beings. Under its rule, this manifestation is created and annihilated again and again. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. And then he says he's the father. And then we see also, right? The sun appears, the moon appears, seasons keep changing. Automatically, so many things are happening. And we are so confident when we sleep in the night, we know next day sun is going to, there will be sunrise. So we are so confident because it's happening so nicely from so many thousands and thousands of years. So that's what Krishna is saying. Everything happens so nicely. Okay, section C. Non-worshippers and worshippers, people who don't have faith in God at all. Fools who think Krishna is an ordinary human being possessing a temporary form become atheists and are defeated in their endeavors. Definition and qualifications of a Mahatma. In the classroom also, not everyone becomes a first rank student. Maybe there are top 10 or top 20. It's like that. Out of 50 students, some really are learning, some are not. Same way in this material creation also. We are here to purify ourselves, but not everyone is purifying themselves. Some think they are there to just have fun. Human body, human life is to enjoy life. Just enjoy life, earn money, enjoy life. They don't understand. Very few people. The moment a person understands, he'll start really, making progress. And that is when these acharyas really help, they're actually trying to help us. Prabhupada talks about Jesus Christ also. He was God conscious. He was very innocent, God conscious person who was trying to purify the rest of the population also. And these acharyas appear here for that purpose, so that they can actually wake us up. Say, wake up, jago, jago, be, don't be in this slumber. Wake up, know why you are here, find out the purpose of your life. So it's like that. Some actually worship Krishna, develop their faith, take shelter, surrender, and do the devotional service, chant everything. Some may not, non-worshippers. They are just doomed. That's all. They have to struggle more and more. Okay. Mataji, please recite this one, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Anyone else wants to try also, please raise your hand so that Anjali Mataji and myself, we both will know that you also want to recite. Hare Krishna. Yes, Mataji, I think you can recite. No one has raised their hand.
I think Vrinda Mataji is interested, Mataji.
Oh, nice. Vinda Mataji, please recite, Mataji.
Yeah. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Okay.
Text 11. Avajananti mame muddha manusimtanum muda manusimtanum ashritam param bhavam ajananto mama bhuta maheshwaram. Fools deride me when I descend in the human form. They do not know my transcendental nature as the supreme lord of all that be. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Avajananti mam mudha. Mudha means fool. Mudha. It's there in many languages also. Say, why you behaving like a mudha? So manushim means human form. Tanum ashritam. Param bhavam ajananto mama bhuta maheshwaram. See, when Krishna appeared, not everyone, Bhishma Dev, and very few people knew who he was. Not everyone knew that he was actually the Supreme Lord. In even this material world, there is this, right? Somebody is controlling someone. See, there are officers. If you go to a company also, there is this director, there is secretary, and there is different departments. There are ministers, presidents, vice presidents, and all these different people are there to take care of the different affairs, right? Different work. They are doing different work. So, and there is this one person who is controlling the other person, one who's on the top. So that is Ishvara. That is the controller, supreme controller. Krishna is the supreme controller. He himself is saying that his body is Satchidananda, non-material. This is confirmed in the Vedas also. So his body is eternal, blissful, full of knowledge. It looks like our body, but it is not like our body. And so a person who thinks Krishna is just another human being, there are many people. If you can open YouTube and see, and there are many people. Only acharyas are giving us this information, saying that he was actually indeed God himself. But many people don't give us this information. They think, oh, he was Arjuna's friend. He's a politician. He was a king who ruled some kingdom, and the palace drowned in the seas. And they talk like this. And they are great scholars. Actually, they are all educated people who talk like this. But they are actually considered mudhas, fools. Krishna is the master of the material energy. So that's what Krishna is saying. If they think that I am like this, they're all mudas. Okay, understanding these three terms. Jananti, understanding, knowing about Lord Krishna in truth leads to liberation. Ajananti, ignorance of Lord Krishna continue in the cycle of birth and death. Avajananti, misunderstanding about Krishna will lead to increased bondage, greater sufferings. See, all the anarthas will go the moment we take shelter of Krishna consciousness. All is, kama, krodha, moha, labha, matsarya, everything will be cleansed. Because the holy name is like that. The activities are like that. Okay. Okay, we'll do this verse and then the next slide, and then we can stop. Who is going to recite this one? Hare Krishna. Thank you, Vinda Mataji. Yes, Mataji, go ahead. Please recite.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Text 12. Mogasha mogha karmano mogha jana vichetasaha rakshasi masuri chaiva prakrutim mohinim shritaha. Those who are thus bewildered are attracted by demonic and atheistic views. In that deluded condition, their hopes for liberation, their fruitive activities, and their culture of knowledge are all defeated. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Mogasha, Moga Karmano, Moga Jnana Vichetasa. Jnanaman. This is GN. It looks like that. Actually, together they make that sound. Jnana. Moga Jnana. Means what he's saying is, see, there are people who mock Krishna. If they, try to comment on his Krishna Leela, whatever that is Rasa Leela, or whatever, in some way or the other, if they are trying to mock him, such people are demoniac actually. They're atheistic. That's what it means. And fruitive workers will never achieve liberation. They're always working for something because they don't know what is Nishkama Karma Yoga. How do I work without expecting any returns? Detachment. All this is very difficult for them to understand. They stay in that platform only. And mental speculators, they have all these false convictions. They think body is covered by material nature. And as soon as we are liberated, what is happening for them? Liberation means there is no difference between God and themselves. I also became God. That is delusion. We'll never become God. Whether we give up this body or stay in this body, we will never become equal to God. Nobody can become equal to God. If somebody says, I have become God, now I have come and as an avatar, if that avatar is not mentioned in the Vedic literature anywhere, we can't consider such a person as an avatar. And in the 11th chapter, we'll see that Krishna actually showed the universal form. And who can show the universal form? If they are capable of that, then we can consider them as divine. Otherwise, no. So they're just baffled. That's all. So it's an offense to consider, like thinking like I'm only God, I've become something, I'm so great. That is an offense to consider or even compare ourselves with Krishna. We cannot even think he's an ordinary person. That is also an offense. And one nice thing is given here, Brihad Vishnu Smriti. This is from the purport. It says, if there is something going on, some ceremony is going on or something, and you see a person's face who is like this, demoniac or atheistic, if by chance drive that person out of that ceremony, if that can't be done, we can't help it. He says, the moment you see such a person's face, just go take a bath in Ganges, go dip yourself in the Ganges. Take bath. You should at once go and dip yourself in the Ganges. It says, then you will be rid of all the infection. It is like you come across something very dirty, you go cleanse yourself. It's like that. A person who is so atheistic and so demoniac, please go and dip in the Ganges immediately and wash off. So that's what it says. We stay away from such association. Otherwise, they will take us, drag us to the darkest regions of creation. Along with them, we'll also fall down. Fate of Duratma. Fate of those who, out of bewilderment, disrespect Krishna's form. They are attracted by demoniac and atheistic views. Hopes for liberation, fruitive activities, and culture of knowledge are all defeated. So this slide we'll do, and then we can stop. Who's going to recite this one? Hare Krishna. We have finished half the chapter, so we are left with half, which we can do next time. Who would like to recite? Thank you, Vinda Mataji, for reciting. Others also, please try.
It'd be great if each of the devotees, if you all try at least one sloka in the class every day, in every session. Just try. It will be great. Hare Krishna.
And that's how we learn. Because see, if there is any pronunciation mistake or anything, we learn. We all learned the hard way. Like past 5 years, we've been practicing. So only with practice it comes. And there's this Mataji who's teaching also, right, Prabhuji? There is this classes going on.
Classes going on also.
Yes.
Please
Anjali
try.
Mataji is. Yeah, anyone? Sheetal Mataji.
Preet Mataji.
Preet. Yeah.
Hare Krishna Mataji, I'll try.
Yeah, great.
Mahatmanastu mam partha daivim prakritim ashritaha bhajanti ananya manaso natva bhutadim avyayam.
Please read the translation
Hare
of
Krishna
Mataji.
Mataji. O son of Pritha, those who are not deluded, the great souls, are under the protection of the divine nature. They are fully engaged in devotional service because they know me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, original and inexhaustible. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Mahatmanas tumam partha daivim prakritim ashitaha. Bhajanti ananya manaso. He's saying, see, these Mahatmas, that's the quality of a Mahatma. One who surrenders to the Supreme Personality of Godhead is already situated in divine nature. And such a person is always meditating upon Krishna, and all his activities are related to that. It's all devotional service, devotional activities. Such a person is called Mahatma. We cannot rubber stamp someone and call such a person. We call so many people Mahatmas, but the definition of Mahatma is given in Bhagavad Gita, given in the scriptures. A person who is a highly elevated devotee of the Lord, who is actually constantly meditating on Krishna. And Mahatmas are actually attracted to the two-armed form of Krishna, not even the universal form or its energies or anything. And such a person is called Mahatma. And there is one example of Mahatma here, Madhavendra Puri. Do you know about him? Hare Krishna, have you heard about Madhavendra Puri? And there is this image here. Do you know this pastime? Everybody's so quiet.
No, they said
Okay,
no. There's a message. Nursing Prabhuji has said that he doesn't know. I think Preet Mataji also says no. Maybe you
okay.
can explain, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Okay, Madhavendra Puri is an acharya. Acharya means one who teaches by example. Just by looking at them, we know what we cannot copy them, follow their footsteps. So Madhavendra Puri was a very highly elevated devotee of Krishna. Krishna used to come and talk to him in his dreams. He used to come and meet him like this and go. Once what happens is Madhavendra Puri is a person. He was in Vrindavan. He was sitting under a tree in near Govardhana Hill. What happened? Now, he is not a person who would go and beg, go and, this most of the renounced people, what they do, great saintly people, they accept, right? Whatever is given to them, they accept. But Madhavendra Puri was very hungry, but something comes his way, he'll eat. Otherwise, no problem. He's like that. He will not go and look for anything. So sitting there, he was very hungry. A little boy shows up and he gets a pot full of milk and he gives him. He looks like a coward boy. And he says, please accept this milk. And Madhavendra Puri looks at this boy and the boy looks very beautiful. Can't even explain his beauty. Just by looking at him, the hunger and thirst will go. He looks that beautiful. He'll accept that. And then the boy, he asks him, how do you know I was hungry? He says, there are some Matajis over there. And nobody goes hungry in Vrindavan. So I've got this milk. They asked me to give it to you. So I have to go milk the cows and I want the pot back. He'll say, I want this. Whatever I'm giving you, drink the milk and keep it ready. I'll take it back. This boy, Madhavendra Puri will accept that, drink the milk, and then he'll say this boy will come. He'll keep it ready for him to come and collect. He's sitting there like this. That boy never comes, and he'll fall asleep. Madhavendra Puri will fall asleep. The same boy will come in his dream. He will say, I am living in this hedge over here for a very long time. Can you help me? Take me out of here. Winter, summer, rainy season, all these different seasons I'm struggling over there. Can you take me out of here? And then he's very surprised. Next day morning, he'll collect some villagers and he'll tell them, come here. I want to show you something. And he'll take them to that same place where the boy was pointing, and they will actually dig up all that. And in the dense forest, in that so much under all the bush and all the thing, they'll find a Archamurti of Gopala. They'll actually find a deity there, Gopala. And then it's so heavy also. It is so heavy. They need some very strong men to carry this Gopala's deity. And they make the temple for him, They build a temple for him, and that's a sweet pastime. So like this, many times Krishna comes in his dreams and talks to him. Very beautiful pastimes of Madhavendra Puri. So that's a Mahatma, where the Lord himself wants to get in touch. Imagine his greatness. That is Mahatma. So this is where we stopped last time, half the chapter. So Mahatma means a great soul who is attached to the Supreme Lord, very dear to the Supreme Lord, and he is also serving the Lord. So what we'll do, we'll discuss this more in our next session.